There are nearly 1.6 million realtors in the US, according to NAR, and even more licensed real estate agents. So if you've ever felt like, how do I stand out in this crowded field? You are not alone. Because the agents who stop trying to look like everyone else and get clear on their value, those are the agents who are able to build a consistent and profitable business. Are you tired of feeling like you're doing all the things as a real estate agent but still not seeing consistent results? Well, that ends right now. Welcome to the Profitable Real Estate Agent, the show for agents who are ready to stop winging it and start building a profitable and sustainable business. This season, we're going to cut through the noise and focus on exactly what it takes to make $100K as a real estate agent. Without the guesswork, without the overwhelm, and without wasting time on things that don't move the needle in your business. I'm pulling back the curtain on the exact framework that took me from my first 100K to 500K to building a 7-figure business. So if you haven't hit 100K yet or you struggle with inconsistency, don't worry, I've got you covered. It's time to take action. Let's get to work. It is wild to think there are nearly 1.6 million realtors in the US. And this doesn't include all the other licensed real estate agents who are not members of NAR. But I want to zoom in on something more important than the size of our field. Let's talk about what agents are actually earning in this business. And all of these metrics are from NAR. And here's some of the most recent data. 42% of realtors make less than $50,000 a year. And only 32% ever hit 6 figures. And here was something very interesting because, I've been in the business now for 23 years. Among agents 16 years of experience or more, only 46% break 100K. Because, it might look like everyone's crushing it online. And if you tuned in last week, you heard in episode 19, I talked about my perspective of social media. But the truth is most agents are not making consistent income, which is why I'm so passionate about agents making money in this business. And I've created a program to do just this. So when you hear there are 1.6 million realtors, I don't want this to intimidate you. Because while the field might feel crowded, most real estate agents or realtors aren't building consistent and sustainable businesses. And what this does, it creates a massive opportunity for you. If you are willing to get focused, stay consistent, and commit to building your own real estate business. Now, if you can own right now in this moment what makes you different, the experience you provide to your clients, get clear on your value, you're going to be able to rise above all this noise and build something that lasts. But you're probably asking yourself, well, Vanessa, where do I even start? The first thing I want you to do is stop playing small. Just because there are X number of agents in your area, and look, there are over probably 25,000 agents in my area, and this doesn't include agents that cross-sell. We've got agents from Tampa, agents from Miami that come here and sell real estate. So the pool is so much larger. But because we already know the data I just provided to you, most of these agents, unfortunately, are not making consistent income. And I see this all the time when I coach and I speak at NAR, when I travel around the country. Agents look around at who's been in the business longer or who's bigger on social media. And then we start spiraling in our thoughts. So what are some of the thoughts you tell yourself when you see this online? Why would someone pick me? Or how do I even stand out among all these agents and realtors? What do I offer? And right now in this moment, stop disqualifying yourself. Yes, there are clients, of course, that we meet with that experience is important to them. But look, that's not everyone I meet with. Very rarely, more often than not, I'm not telling people how many years I've been in the business. Plenty of clients care just as much, if not more, about how they are treated, how you communicate, whether they feel heard and supported. So instead of worrying about what you don't have yet, Start focusing on what you can offer. And how are you showing up at the appointment when you're having the conversation? Now, if you're newer and you don't have that track record yet, that's very important. Look, this is totally okay. You've got to get out of your head that this is the primary reason clients hire or don't hire you. Because what matters truly is how you show up and the experience you promise. This is why people come back to me. It's not because obviously I've had 23 years in the business and I've sold a lot of real estate up to this point, but they come back to me because they felt cared for and loved and appreciated. This is why they come back. If you're a newer agent or you don't have that track record yet, you can say things such as, I'm taking on a small number of clients right now so I can give each one my full attention. And what this means is I'm going to be in your corner every step of the way, and you won't be passed off to an assistant or feel just like another transaction. So if you are playing small or staying stuck because you're focused on what everyone else is doing, let this be your opportunity to spend time focusing on what you bring to the table. Hey, a real quick pause before we go deeper. If you're listening right now and thinking, I want a clear plan to finally reach 100K, then check out my signature program. It's my step-by-step framework for real estate agents who are ready to stop winging it and start building real results. Inside, you're going to learn the exact fundamentals to build the foundation to hitting 100K. We're going to cover everything from mastering your buyer and seller consultations to building your database and delivering a 5-star client experience and everything in between. You're going to get access to my scripts, templates, and checklists. Plus, we're going to have coaching, accountability, and support so you never feel alone. Click on the link in the show notes now to join the roadmap to 100K. All right, let's take you back to the episode. Now, I've already alluded that my previous episode was about social media, and I really hope you tune into that because I give you my raw and real thoughts around it. And I do want to bring it up here again, because when we're talking about standing out, especially in a field that we feel is crowded, social media is where so many of us spiral. Because you pick up your phone, you're scrolling through your feed, and you see someone in your area with a ton of followers. Every post gets like a gazillion likes and comments and shares. And it's so easy for us to go in our head and start saying things like, there's no room for me here on social media on this platform. Why would I even bother? But again, as I said earlier, just because someone looks successful online, it doesn't mean that they're actually getting to the closing table and closing deals. And like I said in the previous episode, social media doesn't have to be one of your main strategies if it doesn't feel aligned and feel good to you. I've already shared with you, if you followed me long enough, I never cold call. Not because I didn't want to do the hard stuff. It's because it didn't feel good to me. I hated every single moment of it. So just think of social media as a tool instead. But what if you say to me, look, I really do like social media and I want it to be one of my lead gen strategies, and you're struggling with how to show up because it feels noisy and saturated? I want to walk you through this right now. Stop trying to be like everyone else. And I've even asked ChatGPT when I started down my road of social media. Obviously, I show up on social media, I give content, I give value to my audience. I talk about my podcast. Maybe you're even tuning in because you saw a post on my page. But I even asked ChatGPT, like, what if I don't want to dance or lip sync or copy what's trending? I just want to show up as my authentic self. And I love ChatGPT because it's like, you can do that and be successful on social media. Like, it encouraged me. And I was like, thanks, ChatGPT. I want you to show up as you and bring the content that you feel good about. Because the agents who are going to stand out long term aren't the flashiest, but they're the clearest on their message. They're clear on who they want to help and what they offer and what it looks like to work with them. So instead of copying what everyone else is doing, here's some questions that I want you to ask yourself. What do I want to be known for? What do I want people to feel when they come across my content? And what would I say to a client if we were sitting one-on-one over coffee, right? Storytelling, share your experience. If you're newer and don't have that track record yet, I want to make that very clear yet, because you will get there. Share why you got into real estate, what your passion is. This is what people want to hear. Yes, the dancing, the lip syncing, those get tons of views and things like that. But at the end of the day, if people don't feel connection with you, they're never going to do business with you. So stop waiting to be perfect. Stop trying to sound like everyone else. Just show up today and say, I'm going to bring value and I'm going to show up consistently. And just let that be enough. Now, I want to bring it back to 3 simple things that actually help you stand out without being overwhelmed or you having to overthink things. The first thing I want you to do when you think about whether it's social media or anything that you're doing in your business when it comes to lead generation or following up, I want you to know who you're talking to, because you're not going to be for everyone, nor can you serve everyone. And this may take some time to sink in. And it was a lesson that took me a long time to figure out. I never really became clear on my niche. I never really had a niche. I transformed as the market transformed. So it was like I got into real estate, there was the recession. And then, of course, I was working with buyers and investors because prices were so low. And it took me a long time to step onto the listing side because I just didn't feel confident enough in my abilities. And I never identified a certain area that I focus on. I kind of said wherever my clients go. In hindsight, I probably should have niched down a little bit more. I was still successful. I've sold a lot of real estate, but I'm just saying, I think it's really important to understand and know who you are talking to. And when you are clear on who you help, everything gets sharper. Your messaging, your offers, your content. So here's some questions that I want you to ask yourself. What kind of buyer or seller do I work best with? Or do you want to work with only sellers or only buyers? What problems do they have and how can I solve them? Maybe you want to only work in new construction or just resales, or maybe you want to niche down to your own neighborhood where you live. Do you want to work with veterans, first-time home buyers, active adults? Maybe you want to work with move-up buyers, move-down sellers. So there are so many options and so many ways that you can go here because it's a mindset, right? We think if we niche down or narrow down who our audience is, that we're going to eliminate so many, but that's the whole point. Because when you are niche down, when you are clear on who you're speaking to, then your offers, your content, everything becomes so much more clear. Number 2, get clear on the value you bring. Saying I help people buy and sell houses is not enough. What do you do differently? What's your approach that helps clients feel more confident, more prepared, and more supported? Get a sheet of paper. Start writing this out. How often do you communicate? What does that look like? What is it like to work with you? Maybe you simplify the process for the client, like get it down to a kindergarten level. Are you there calm in the chaos? Oh, I just got the chills. Find out what sets you apart and then practice communicating that. Lastly, this is so important. You've got to prioritize and focus on the client experience. As I said earlier, most clients remember me because of the experience I provided, and that's why they kept coming back, referring their friends, referring their family, coworkers. It was amazing to see really get drilled down on the experience for the client and then seeing my business grow simply because of that experience. Now, as you move a client from that initial call to the closing and beyond, start taking notes about everything you do for them and start building out your written system. Because at the end of the day, again, this experience is what is going to keep clients coming back. This is what makes you memorable. So if you're still wondering to yourself, how do I stand out in a market of over 1.6 million realtors? Start right here. So what part of today's episode resonated with you? I want to hear from you. Come follow me on Instagram. Link is in the show notes. Again, I would love to hear what stood out. I asked you a lot of questions in this episode. What question resonated most? And what are you going to take action on? I can't wait to hear from you. Bye for now. Success as a real estate agent comes down to a decision to show up, take action, and stay committed. So don't just listen. Apply what you learned today and put it into motion. If you need help getting started, I want you to grab my free 60 lead gen strategy guide so you can start finding the right lead gen strategies that'll work for you. And if you're a motivated, ambitious agent who's ready to hit six figures, join my Roadmap to 100K program. You'll find both links in the show notes. If you found this episode valuable, please share it with a fellow agent and leave me a 5-star rating and review, as it helps more agents just like you find the show. Thank you so much for being here. I'll see you next time on The Profitable Real Estate Agent.